Hello and welcome to CU Forms. My name is Andrew Breeze, and in this video we're going to be looking at one of the most powerful features of CU Forms, and that is the workflow. So in our dashboard we can see that we have a new form waiting, we have a new form that's pending next action, which we discussed in an earlier video. So when I open up this new form, we can see the application form and we can see the workflow sections. And the workflows are here with application acceptance, affordability check, credit check, monthly rate, etc. All the workflows have built-in drop-downs. These can be amended to change to suit your organisation, but we'll always start with pending. In the first one, the application acceptance says, do you want the application? Is it a current member? Is it perhaps a previous debtor that you don't want in the system, or is it perhaps somebody who falls outside your common bond and you can't accept them into it? So we just take that on board and we just set the scenario. We're going to say pass because we want to continue through the workflow. After each workflow, just update the application forms and it allows us to move on to the next workflow. The next workflow is the affordability check, a built-in calculator that takes the loan application amount, the applicant's income and expenditure, and calculates this against the cost of the new loan. We have two functions here. We have the pending, as we saw, and we have ready. And ready is our inbuilt robot that is going to do the work for us and do the calculations. So when we update the applications, we can just see what happens within the robot. The application form has run the assessment and it has returned a pass. I'm just going to take you down and just show you what that did. If we consider this was a £200 application over 6 months, repaid it weekly. The application form says that the applicant was a single individual owning their own property with one adult over 14, the applicant, and one child under the age of 14. Total income of £2,000 a month with very small debts, £10 and £10 repayments. The calculator takes into consideration all these scenarios, where the applicant lives, and bases the figures on Office for National Statistics data and returns total monthly expenses that we would expect, net disposable income, giving us a percentage of likelihood of affordability. There's more information about the affordability calculator in our manual. Once it's passed, then the credit check is now ready to open, and this has a number of scenarios here. If you're doing your own manual checks, or if you're doing your in-house credit checking, you may just have a system that says, well, they're either going to pass, refer, or decline. This has ready, so this actually does a call into the credit reference agency and returns the data from the application. Now, purely for this scenario, we're using a dummy credit check just to show you what actually comes back from the credit check. The robot will run. As it sets to ready, let's give it up to 60 seconds to complete, and there it says the application has returned a pass. If we just look at what's responded, we can see that the data has been returned, giving all the indications about the financial status of the application. And just an example. And the workflow runs in that way. All you need to do is move through what your normal operating procedure would be, how you would assign your loans, and you run the workflow accordingly using, as we said, the automated functions of ready or the drop-down versions where you can set the criteria yourself. And that's how it works. At each stage of the workflow, you'll get to see what state you're at, a color-coded condition, and where you are in your next stage. And if we return to the dashboard and refresh the dashboard, we can actually see that effect that's taken place. The application is now moved forward into pending next action because it's now waiting for somebody to do some further work. And that's that's the workflow. Again, there's more information on our website at cuforms.org, and our manual gives information regarding how the workflow runs. We set up standard workflow when people get the forms, but these can be changed to suit your own organisation. And when you implement the forms, it's just a case of looking at the workflows and what you can do with them. One of the beauties about the workflow is that at each stage of the workflow you could actually send an email notification to the customer, so this might give them an indication in this instance that says, congratulations, you've passed your credit check and we are now working on your application, or words to that effect, or none at all. You could also send an SMS message if you wanted to as well. So when we get down to credit agreements, the email can go across and the customer can understand that their application is going through. And we configure the text of the emails within the form design itself. So again, there's more information on that and we'll look at that at a later video. So that's the workflow. Thanks for listening.